Welcome to Asian America, the first leading public television program dedicated to Asia and Asian Americans. Hi, I'm Sue Robinson, your host for this edition. I'd like to introduce Eli Klein, gallery owner at Eli Klein Fine Art in New York City, and Christina Lee, gallery manager at Eli Klein Fine Art. Welcome, and thank you for coming in today.
Thanks so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Eli, tell us about what Eli Klein Fine Art is all about, and what type of arts do you display at the gallery?
Well, my gallery is just over 5 years old now, and we've always concentrated on Chinese contemporary art. And we represent some terrific artists, for the most part, from mainland China, generally in Beijing. And that's our focus. So we are very well known now throughout the world as being one of the foremost galleries representing Chinese artists. And certainly with respect to America, we're the most well-known gallery for representing Chinese contemporary artists.
You're limiting it to contemporary Chinese art?
Yes, I am.
Why this form of art? What is it all about?
Well, with respect to the limit, I mean, China is a massive country, and there's a whole lot going on there, and the art scene is large and keeps growing larger. And there are other genres of art in China, and there's modern art. There's of course traditional art, and there's a big market for Chinese antiques and so on and so forth. So we have to not only narrow down the focus to Chinese art, but we have to narrow it down even further. And I'm most comfortable and knowledgeable about contemporary art, and I like working directly with some terrific living artists, and that's my field of expertise and interest.
Collectors who are looking at your art in your gallery, what kind of collectors are they out there coming in?
Well, there's such a wide range of collector. It's hard to even classify, as one kind. But we really serve a clientele from all over the world, and whether they're from Asia or Europe or America, they're not just often they're not just interested in Chinese contemporary art, but they're interested in art, and it happens to be that our artists particularly interest them. So we often are dealing with people that are connoisseurs and very affectionate about the arts, and are drawn to our artists specifically. And then of course we also deal with many clients who concentrate on collecting Chinese contemporary art, who have done very well, and there's numerous reasons why people collect Chinese art. It's not, I mean, often people are collecting for investment and have used Chinese contemporary art as an investment vehicle, and have done extraordinarily well in using Chinese contemporary art. And there's also people who are drawn to Chinese art because of the social representations that are made through art. Often artists in China use their artwork to say something which they can't say outside of their artwork, and it's a very important part of Chinese art. Is artists in China are able to use their art to say things that otherwise perhaps they wouldn't be able to say. And there's kind of a misconception that the Chinese government does censor contemporary art to a very high level, and actually they're relatively loose with restrictions on contemporary art, and they certainly have gotten or have become looser as time goes by, and as the art market in China becomes more and more important. It becomes more important for the Chinese economy, and the restrictions on contemporary artists in China are not nearly what one would assume or think from reading some of the mass media articles.
No, so China is becoming more embracing it now because of the economy and knowing that the more popular it is, the economically it's better for them as well.
But they absolutely do embrace it.
They do embrace it.
And the Chinese market is in a large part driven by Chinese investors. And the infrastructure in China, whether it's museums or educational facilities or other types of institutions, China has really become a very powerful factor in the global art market, and it's a factor that curators and collectors and critics around the world have learned not to ignore, and it will increasingly penetrate aspects of Western global art culture.
So you see a good future, a continuing good future and relationship.
There's no question about it, and anyone that doesn't see a good future in Chinese art is really fooling themselves. It's just China, as countries, especially like China, become more and more powerful and more influential. So does the art market, and it's an unavoidable interaction.
Well, Christina Lee, you're the gallery manager. Tell us your role over there. What do you do as gallery manager?
Well, my primary responsibility is client relations, making sure that when clients come into the gallery, they know exactly what they're collecting and the kind of investment they're putting into their collection. For media and press, I deal with some of that as well. Right now, we're really focusing on the art fairs that we have going on in Miami, and that requires a lot of extra preparation. We have 2 booths, one in Art Asia and one in Art Miami. So between the two, there's a lot of curating, a lot of cooperation with the artists that are involved that need to be ironed out. So that's what right now we're really focusing on.
So you work with the clients that are local here when they walk into the gallery, as well as long distance away, and you have something like Miami, you just said, like, is that like a food and wine festival, but it's in the art type?
It is kind of like
scenario.
A food and wine festival, yeah. There is the first week in December where all these galleries from all over the world go to Miami, and they participate in one of the many art fairs that go on there. And so for us, we're participating in 2, which means, double the work. And for that amount of preparation, we have to make sure to have all of our works prepared, shipments going out, curating the booths. And in terms of the clients, we have a lot that just walk into the gallery that can be from anywhere, Hong Kong, Europe, and then we also have local New Yorkers who come in and decide that they want something. So it's really a mix of people.
How much did you know about contemporary Chinese art before coming to Eli's gallery?
I honestly didn't know that much about contemporary Chinese art. That's not primarily what I had studied, but it's something that I learned a lot about once I started working at the gallery. I don't think that there are a lot of people out there whose specialty is Chinese contemporary art, so it's something that I think I learned more about just being in the field, and that was something that was really helpful for me to be dealing with the artists and to be able to talk to them. I think that the fact that they're contemporary living artists is very helpful for me in understanding where their messages are and how it fits into the broader context of their work.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about what it was all about, because I only knew about the traditional, the mountains, the birds, water, feng shui. I grew up in a home where my mother was into that type of artwork all over the home, adorning the home, keeping it a very peaceful feng shui type home with that kind of art. So I went on your website, and you are just, representing an artist now, and I wanted to know what that contemporary art meant. And one of the artists is Lou Boland right now.
Lou Boland, yeah.
I went, this artist is like I was looking at it, and it was more like a karma chameleon. He's in the picture,
yeah,
and yet you have to kind of see it.
Right.
And find him. He's in every picture, but in the environment of the picture. Is that what contemporary art is all about?
Just to clarify, he is in most of the pictures. We have done collaborations with him and some designers, for example, Jean-Paul Gaultier and Valentino, or Maria Grazia and Pier Paolo for Valentino, Angela Massoni and Albert Albaz for Lanvin. So there's a few, and we recently did a collaboration with the well-known French artist JR, who maintains a studio here in New York and in Paris.
What does he specialize in?
JR?
His type?
Again, he's a photographer, and JR is a terrific young artist. And Lou Bolin and JR collaborated on a photograph in New York, where Lou Bolin painted, or JR took a photograph of Lou Bolin. He took a number of photographs, chose which one he wanted to use. He blew it up. It was actually of Lou Bolin's eye, with the peace sign over his eye. He blew it up into this huge piece, which he pasted, which is a technique he often uses. He pasted with his team and scaffolding onto the side of a big building in Soho. And then Lou Bolin, so that was JR's portion of the collaboration. Then Lou Bolin used his invisibility expertise, or if you want to call it that.
He's a chameleon.
Sure, to paint JR into the pasting that JR did of Lou Bolin's eye. So the photo, the end result at least, is called, and it was a project that took all day. It was difficult to complete in one day, but we were able to, and it was quite a scene with hundreds of spectators in the street, just in awe of what was going on, because both the artists are quite well known, to say the least. And the final photo is called JR Through the Eye of Lou Bolin.
Wow.
So not in every photo, Lou Bolin isn't in every photo, but for the most part he is. And we'll certainly be releasing a few new photographs by Lou Bolin later, as Christina mentioned, in Miami this year, where Lou Bolin is the main person, or in each photograph. Locally
here in New York City, are any of the artwork displayed in places well known here?
Oh, absolutely.
Like where?
And you mean in various...
Yes, businesses.
Well, we work with any number of museums in New York, and some of the terrific museums here, such as our artist, for example, Zhang Dali was in the MoMA's new photography show last year, which was a 6-person show, and an annual show that the MoMA has, and it was terrific exposure for Zhang Dali, although he is an incredibly well-known artist.
Christina, as a gallery manager, how do you get the word out to everyone that this is what you are providing in your business, and come take a look? Well, how are you getting that word out?
We do a lot of work with press, and we make sure that they know in advance to the exhibition what we're going to be showing and the kind of works that we're going to be representing for that exhibition. So for example, we had Liu Jingwan in September, and his show just recently closed. Art in America covered that show, which was very exciting, and it really allows people who have an interest in art to just have different channels to be able to understand what's going on. And I think that in terms of Chinese contemporary art, where the concept aspect is very heavy, we always need to make sure to get out as much press as possible so people understand what they're looking at when they come into the gallery.
All right. Eli, you have a great liaison internationally with artists.
Right.
How do you have them, their interests, how do you get their art to your gallery when they're all the way in China?
Right.
Do you go there?
I do go. I go probably 4 times a year.
Oh.
I'm there for 2 weeks each time, so about 2 months of the year I'm in China. I generally go to Beijing. Usually once a year I'll go to Shanghai, and once a year I'll go to Hong Kong as well.
Do you speak the Chinese dialect when you're there?
I do not. I can speak a very little bit of Cantonese, because I lived in Hong Kong for a while, and a slight bit of Mandarin, but nothing impressive enough to have the kind of important conversations that I need to have with our artists and collaborators in China. So I have terrific staff in Beijing that are bilingual, who I work very closely with. here in New York, and as you can imagine, the 12-hour time difference makes it a bit difficult, but it's not a problem for me. I'm happy to work all the time, and if that requires an early morning or a late night phone call a few times a week, I'm all for it.
Yeah, so you have a good team worldwide.
We have a great team worldwide, and to expand upon what Christina was saying, and your question to Christina, we've been very, I wouldn't necessarily say lucky, because a lot of it is the result of very hard work and making the right decisions, but we've really received terrific attention from the international and local media for our gallery and for our artists. So whereas most galleries don't have the recognition that we have, we're very proud of where we are after 5 years. And as you asked, how do you get the word out? Thankfully, the word often gets out through our hard work. Not all the time, of course, but we've done a very good job in getting attention from some very major art-related and non-art-related publications.
Christina, do you travel abroad into China as well?
I don't. I'm actually Korean, so for me, it's not really. I'm not the ideal person to send to China, considering I don't know the language.
But you're a good representation of Asian.
Yes, I would think that in terms of our gallery in New York, that I can really hold down the fort and make sure that we're getting everything that we need here.
How did you gain your experience?
Well, I worked at several other galleries before this one. I worked at Paul Kasman Gallery for a while, and I also worked at Tagliatelle Galleries. I did a few internships here and there, but finally here, I think that I found a really good place where I can cultivate a lot of my experiences into a really successful working environment.
That's wonderful, because now I'm going to plug you guys. The Bravo TV has took interest in galleries and as a reality TV, where they portray a few girls trying to make it in the art world in New York City. And Eli Klein, you are a gallery owner that they spotlight. How did that experience on Bravo TV, the Gallery Girls, how did you feel, or how did you do with that experience, being part of the Bravo TV Gallery Girls? And how did it affect your business?
The experience was interesting. It was certainly unique. It was a very difficult decision. I was dealing with producers regarding the show since January 2010, where they saw me at the LA Art Show, perhaps being very stern with my staff, and they seemed to get a kick out of it. I would say that more so they're probably interested in myself and the gallery as a location than our specific program and our artists. But that's how TV is. If you're asking how it affected our business, it hasn't had a negative effect at all, which is terrific. And none of our clients have at least expressed that they are in any way bothered by it. We have any number of clients who get a kick out of watching the show, and we've received some terrific feedback in that respect, which is great. It's just a fun thing. It's not a part of my business. It's not a part of the gallery. It's totally separate. Look, I mean, I'm working. I work every day, and a lot every day, and none of that work that I do.
None of that is shown. They never show how much you're working.
They don't show that, but it has nothing to do with this reality show.
But is it true the way the girls are suffering? They're trying to make a name, a business. They're working as interns. They're trying not to have any, they're not working for any money. They need the experience under their belt. You being in this business is exactly the same representation as what we're seeing on the show, that these girls are doing exactly how you were starting out.
I think I did start out, in a similar way, in the sense that I started with an internship, and that turned into a job, and then another job, and but I think that they did sensationalize a lot of the drama that goes into it. I think that each person in the art world takes their experiences for what it is, and if they decide that they're going to go about it the way they have, then you know, that's just a separate thing that they focused on for Bravo.
And I will say that there probably are some art world elitists that that are, you know, thumb their nose at our gallery or myself participating on the show. And to be honest, I really don't care. I've never followed the mainstream. My gallery is anything but mainstream, and I've been very successful not following the art world in that way. And if there are people, none of whom have said anything to me personally, and it certainly has only helped business, although it's not, I didn't need Bravo's help or the help from the show. But when you do everything and when you become well known for something, there's going to be people that get upset by it or get upset by the way that the New York art world is portrayed, and there's going to be silly journalists who write snarky articles, and it really doesn't matter to me. I don't subscribe to the art world mainstream, and I'm happy to not participate in it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are going to view the face. They have a Facebook about the Gallery Girls. They do talk about you, and you know, they really want to know: are you everything that they have seen on TV? You're the little creepy little Eli that's really being back to little Maggie there. But and then we see it, and then they don't show the other part about how hard you're doing it. You are successful in the art world.
Right.
This is a difficult economy. How are you being so successful?
We have terrific artists, and we are certainly successful, and it's you know, it's terrific. Every year the gallery gets more and more successful. We, you know, for me, anything that I do, I'm going to put my heart into, and one of the reasons why I do this is because the more I put into my gallery and my artists, the more I get out of it. And I've been putting in, you know, I put all my energy into it, and for me, if the second I stop growing as a gallery or as a business, the second I know that this isn't for me, and that's just not going to happen, and that's not how my mindset is, and it's not how I was raised. And every year we see the gallery get better in every respect, and that's how the gallery will continue to be.
Is that how you feel, Christina?
Well, for me, I studied art history, so art has always been an interest of mine, and it definitely drives a lot of the passion behind, you know, wanting to be in this business. And it does give me an opportunity to be able to learn about art, you know, directly from the artist. And that is something that's unbeatable in terms of a student perspective, in terms of, you know, what gives you more passion about this art? Well, I think that it's really interesting how right now, Eli was saying before that it's really a way for them to express a lot of their social or, you know, the kind of context of what's going on in China right now. It's a really interesting way for us to view from their perspective what is happening.
Do you have a lot of non-Asian collectors gravitating to it?
Absolutely.
Can you name some of them?
No.
No?
Yeah. But we do have a lot of non-Asian collectors. I think that the majority of art collectors may be, or maybe my clients personally, but I think that the interest is not specific towards Asians or Asian Americans. It definitely is a much wider thing. And I think that it was in 2010 when the Chinese art market actually exceeded the American and UK market for the first time in 60-some years. So I think that that really is a testament to how Chinese art isn't just geared for Chinese people or Asian people. It's definitely more about how we are seeing China through a global perspective.
Wow, I never knew that, and I love the fact that you're both so empowered and have so much passion about contemporary Chinese art. So I commend you, and I congratulate you for such wonderful years of success.
Thank you.
For those viewers who would like to know more about Eli Klein Fine Art, how may they reach you?
Well, they can of course always visit our website. It's just ekfineart.com. They can come by the gallery where we're very accessible and open 7 days a week from 11 to 7. We're right in Soho, West Broadway between Houston and Prince. It's certainly an easy location to find.
What are your hours?
We're on the ground level, from 11 to 7.
Okay.
Daily.
We can just walk in.
You can just walk in.
Because I might do that.
You're certainly welcome.
Okay.
You know, obviously I'm not there all the time. I have things to do outside of the gallery and traveling. And as Christina mentioned, we're going to Miami at the end of the month and have a host of things that we're preparing for and doing there.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, and thank you very much for another segment of Asian America. I'm Sue Robinson. Until next time, be well.